On the 23rd of September 2015, at around past 3 a.m. in Bristol in the United Kingdom, a woman heard loud screams and also the sound of her doorbell ringing. She woke up in shock and went to a window to see what was actually happening outside. She saw a man wearing only his underwear, covered in mud from his head to his shoulders. This man was screaming so loudly and begging for help. This video contains themes of violence. Some viewers may find this disturbing. Viewers' discretion is advised. Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for clicking on this video. My name is Omodele Salu, and if you're here, that means you're invested in true crime content as much as I am. So welcome, take a seat. I'm going to be posting a lot of contents like this, so if this is something that you'd like, please like, subscribe, and turn that notification bell on so you can get notified when I post a new video. Now that all that is out of the way, let's get right into today's case. In 2015, Mark Van Dongen was a 29-year-old engineer who was born in the Netherlands but lived in Bristol in the UK. Mark was dating a woman by the name of Belina Wallace at this time. They had met in 2010, and Belina was a 48-year-old part-time fashion student at the University of the West of England in Bristol. The relationship was believed to be a very abusive one. Mark's friends said that they would often see scratches all over his body, and on one occasion, Belina poured boiling water on him while he slept. Thankfully, the relationship ended in August of 2015, and Mark moved in with his new girlfriend, Violet. Belina was pissed about this. She was pissed that Mark was moving on from her to his new girlfriend, and she absolutely could not accept it. She was so pissed that on the 2nd of September 2015, she went onto her computer to research acid attacks. She looked at 82 cases of these attacks and what had happened to the victims. After she had browsed through these different sites, she went onto Amazon and purchased a bottle of concentrated sulfuric acid. That very day, Mark called the police to tell them that Belina won't stop harassing him and his new girlfriend. She would say things like, "If you leave me, I am going to kill myself," and the police warned her to stop. And she would also do this thing where she would call Mark's new girlfriend Violet on the phone and just stay quiet, trying to be intimidating. Mark also called his father on this day to tell him about all the crazy shit Belina had been doing. He told his father that he was genuinely scared of her this time, and he was scared that she would do much worse than pouring boiling water on him. On the night of the 22nd of September 2015, despite all of his fears, Mark went to Belina's apartment to see her, to tell her that their relationship wasn't ever going to continue. And I get what he was trying to do here. He just wanted to make sure that she understood this so that they could both move on with their lives and hopefully be happy. For some reason, Mark decided to spend the night. And around 3 a.m. while he was sleeping, Belina got up, went to the kitchen, poured some of that sulfuric acid, concentrated sulfuric acid, into a cup. Then she went back to the bedroom, woke Mark up, laughed in his face and said, "If I can't have you, nobody can." Then she just poured the cup of acid directly into his face. Mark was in so much pain, but he was able to run outside and scream for help. He ran to a neighbor's door and rang the doorbell. This neighbor thought it was a prank at first because she could not understand why a half-naked man was standing at her door covered in mud. Another neighbor, Thomas Sweets, came out with a golf club. He too had heard the loud screams and he came out to help. At first though, he thought it was a couple of foxes fighting. Other neighbors soon began to come out to help. As they got close to Mark, they realized that this wasn't some kind of strange prank and he wasn't covered in mud. This was actually his skin melting and falling off of his body. Immediately, the neighbors called the emergency service 999 and then they led Mark into one of the flats to take a cold shower to kind of soothe his pain. Soon, the paramedics arrived on the scene and found Mark in a horrific state. He was foaming at the mouth and had severe chemical burns on his face, shoulders, chest, arms, and legs. They gave him something for the pain and rushed him to the hospital. On the way to the hospital, Mark kept on saying he could not see anything, so one of the paramedics decided to check his eyes, and they found out that one of his irises had completely dissolved as a result of this acid. Mark told the paramedics that his ex-girlfriend Belina Wallace did this to him, and he begged the police to go check on his girlfriend Violet to see if she was okay, as he feared that Violet was Belina's next target. Thankfully, when the police got to Violet, she was okay. When the police went to Belina's flat, they found her just sitting on the sofa and she was arrested. Before treatment, Mark was able to catch a glimpse of himself and he screamed and said he didn't want to be alive anymore. Mark had to be put into a coma for 4 months because of how bad his injuries were. His lower left leg had to be amputated because the sulfuric acid had continued to burn from the skin and muscles all the way down to the bones. Mark's nose had also been completely melted off, as well as one of his ears. Mark's family came down from the Netherlands to be with him in the hospital, and when Mark's father got to the hospital, he asked the staff where to find his son, and they told him. He went back to the staff to tell them that, look, I think you guys made a mistake because my son is not anywhere. Mark's injuries were so severe that it made him unrecognizable even to his own father. When Mark finally came out of the coma, he had movement in only his mouth and tongue. After some time in recovery, he started talking again, but he was paralyzed from the neck down. Mark got so depressed, and the trauma took a huge toll on his mental health. The fact that he wasn't able to move made it even worse and was a constant reminder of the horrible event he had suffered. Mark's injuries were so severe that the police decided that the pictures of the injuries will never be released. Because of how bad his injuries were, Mark needed constant professional care, and he was put in a care home in Gloucester. But only one night there, he called his father and begged him to come pick him up. When Mark's father got to the care home, he found Mark in his room covered in his own feces. Mark's father promised to get him out of there, and Mark's family hired a private ambulance and drove him back to the Netherlands, his home country. They also found him a care home that could offer him better in terms of care and dedication. The one thing that Mark had going for him was his ability to communicate. He could speak to his family and find the strength to keep going, but sadly he lost that too. He developed a lung infection that required a tube to be inserted into his throat to remove liquid. This meant that Mark would no longer be able to talk. Mark decided to apply for euthanasia in Belgium as it is legal there. His application was granted after being thoroughly assessed, and on the 2nd of January 2017, Mark spent some quality time with his family for the last time. The doctors came, and at 7:15 p.m. he was pronounced dead. The trial did not hold until 2018. It was held in Bristol Crown Court, and Belina Wallace was charged with murder and applying a corrosive fluid with intent. Belina's defense team, their whole argument was that Belina did not technically kill Mark, and Mark was killed by the doctors in Belgium, so how can Belina be charged with his murder? They also tried to portray Mark as the violent one. Belina said he was controlling and violent and claimed she didn't know it was acid in the cup, that she thought she was throwing a glass of water at him. She said that Mark had left the glass of acid on her bedside table, hoping she would wake up in the middle of the night, think it was water, and drink it. Belina refused to accept what she had done to Mark. She made up lies about him to justify the horrible things she did to this man. Belina's search history showed she was lying. She had looked at many cases of acid attacks and knew exactly what that liquid was. She had tested it on a table and knew how corrosive the acid was and what it would do to Mark. She had also purchased it on Amazon. This showed premeditation. The judge called the attack premeditated, sadistic, malicious, and callous. She stated that Belina was manipulative, controlling, and dangerous. She said to Belina, "Your intention was to burn, disfigure, and disable Mark so that he would no longer be attractive to any other woman. It was an act of pure evil." Belina Wallace showed no remorse even after she heard about Mark's mental and physical state before he died. She was cleared of murder and manslaughter though, but was charged with throwing a corrosive substance with intent, and she was sentenced to a minimum of 12 years in prison. Mark deserved better, and I do not understand why Belina got only 12 years. I don't care about the technicalities. She killed that man. She planned it for weeks and did it. I honestly wish I believed in things like ghosts and karma, because Belina deserves much worse than she got. 12 years is a fucking slap on the wrist. Plus, she was like 48, bruv. She had definitely lived life to some extent. Mark was just 29 years old, and he didn't even have the chance to experience life like he probably wanted. I feel so sad for Mark's family, especially his father, and I genuinely hope they can find some peace. And that brings us to the end of today's case. You all take care of yourself. Please like and subscribe, because I'm checking my YouTube analytics and it's doing well when it comes to views, considering, but it's not translating to subscribers. So you all please like and subscribe. Anyway, take care of yourselves, and I will see you for the next one.